New traders, have you ever wondered why you continue to see that single red day blow up your account and make you give back multiple days and weeks of wins? It's not because you've taken a losing trade. It's a mindset problem. Last week, I made $70,000 with a 44% win rate, proving that you do not need to be right more than you are wrong to be profitable and stack wins throughout the month. In this video, I'm going to expose why your obsession with your daily P&L is your largest enemy, how we need to embrace those small red days, and how if you focus on continually trading a high risk-reward strategy, those small red days will continue to be offset and will only fuel massive gains. Get ready to revolutionize your trading and throw away the blow-up days. So before we jump into the trades that made me over $70,000 with a 44% win rate, being wrong more than I am right, I want to talk about the mindset trap that is continuously causing you to blow up your account in a single day. New traders love to judge their performance on a day-to-day basis. They think that they need to end every day green to give themselves that confidence and that feeling of accomplishment. When new traders get on a green streak, let's say a 5 to 7 day streak of being right and closing the day green, you will do everything in your human power to make sure that that streak stays alive. But this mindset right here is what is the downfall and what causes you to blow up on singular days. Let's say you open a trading day and it starts red. The right thing to do here is to accept that that trade did not work. You stuck to your stop loss. You had a correct trade idea with the right thesis. It just unfortunately didn't work. This is an inevitability in trading. Not every time you enter a trade, it's going to do what your strategy says or your system entails. Now, the problem is you find that hard to accept. You took a correct trade. It didn't result in a green day. And now you're sitting red on the day and your 7-day winning streak is at risk and it's time to make that money back. That is the wrong mindset. That mindset right there is the thing that leads you to these 1-day blowups that give back 7 days of hard work. And this is exactly where those tilt days begin. So let's say you start the day down $200 and your green streak is now at risk. What is the correct mindset? It's to walk away and accept that your trade did not work and move on to the next day because you're not judging yourself based off a day-to-day performance. This is what few new traders will do. What will the majority do? They will try to find that next trade. Where's the next trade? I need to get back to green. I'm going to start forcing positions. I'm going to start finding something that's simply not there. That next trade you put on, the trade that you force, leads you to a $400 loss, and now you have double the amount to make back. So what's the next logical or illogical thing to do? Size up. Try to find the next trade. If I just make 20% on this sized up position, I'll get back to green on the day, and my green streak is back alive. All right, let's do that. What happens next? Down 800. And the snowball continues to grow larger and larger. And now those 7 days of hard work are simply gone because of nothing but a mindset. And this all stems back to the feeling that you have to be green every day to be successful, and you have to be right every day to be successful. And if you could just remove this out of your mind on a day-to-day basis, I guarantee you that your trading performance will be improved. I need you to focus on the bigger picture and not just on a single day. Inside of a successful green month for me, there are plenty of red days that are spread across the month, but those red days are all smaller than my average winning days, and all of those red days become irrelevant when we look at our end of month P&L. But that is only possible if you can remove that day-to-day mindset and think bigger picture about what's my entire month or what's my entire year look like. Did I follow my strategy and my system? And am I implementing a high risk-reward strategy to ensure that my losses will be offset? Now, for me, that is, of course, the break and retest strategy where my wins will always be larger than my losses if I stick to my system. And the key word there is stick to my system. It's difficult, but you must do it. You have to remember that sticking to that break and retest system and sticking to that high risk reward strategy, those losses will always be offset. And when you're in the heat of the moment taking a loss, you need to somehow remind yourself that your next quality trade will make this back and then some. But that mindset right there is the most difficult thing for newer traders to wrap their head around. And this is what snowballs into those blow-up days that I am here to hopefully help you fix. So with that said, let's now jump into the charts. Let's go ahead and break down the trades that made me $70,000 and also show you how I was only right 44% of the time, meaning that there were more losses than there were wins. But guess what? Those losses, I kept them small. I understood that my next win would offset them, and that is why I am here on this successful week so far. So as most of you know, we're always going to lead with transparency on this channel, and what I want to do now is walk you through day by day my performance of this trading week and show you how I gradually had a higher P&L, but you'll also see how there was more losses coming in, but the wins always offset them. This is a mindset that I always stick with, and I have to understand that no matter if I'm wrong and I take that loss, my next trade always has the potential to offset that loss and then some. So you guys can see right here, this is the 16th of June, and let's go ahead and go day by day. I am up now $22,000 with only one loss so far. Let's go to the 17th. I am now up $29,000 with 6 losses. More losses, P&L has risen. Why? Because my wins are offsetting. Let's go to the next day. On the 18th. On the 18th, we can see I am now up $43,000, and look at the losses that are piling up, but also look at the wins. And take a look at the size differences here. 22, 20, 25, 22, $17,000 wins, where I had $5,000, $7,000, and $9,000 losses. So halfway through the week, we are now up $43,000 with pretty much equal amount of wins and losses, but once again, the wins are offsetting. The 19th, the market was closed, so let's skip that, and we will move on to the 20th, where we end this week up $69,000 with multiple 5-figure green trades, and we have one singular 5-figure red trade, but we can see that those easily were offset by the wins. Up $69,000 in a week, and now let's push this into TradeZella, where we can actually get these statistics and show you the 44% win rate. So we're now over on TradeZella, where we can see that our P&L number matches up our $69,000 green week. For the week, you can see June 16th to June 20th with a 44% win percent. We have 13 winning trades and we have 16 losing trades, but here is the magic number right here. The average win to loss trade, our average win was $9,200, where our average loss was only $3,100. So we can see that when we won almost 3x the loss. We had a 3-to-1 on every trade this week. When we accumulated all of our trades this week, we have a 1-to-3 risk reward, meaning that every time I risked $1, I made 3. And this is what made me profitable. And if we can remember this fact and we can keep this in our minds throughout the trading day, we will do much better as traders to walk away on a loss, to understand that if we do end up taking a loss, that next trade should offset it. Just this simple mindset trick to always remember this will improve your trading and stop you from blowing up your account. I could have very easily continued to trade on some of my red trading days throughout this week and just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed these losses and given back everything that I made, but I didn't. I looked for the next high quality setup. I looked for the next trade that's going to yield a potential 3-to-1 or more risk reward, and I striked and I took that opportunity. So at this point in today's video, we've talked about the mindset that continues to cause problems in your trading and how we need to focus on the bigger picture. We need to stop worrying about what our P&L is at the end of every single day and ensure that we are focusing and following a high risk reward strategy, accepting when it is incorrect, because we know in the back of our heads our next winning trade will offset that. You saw my statistics from the previous week where I was right only 44% of the time, but still was able to pull a profit of close to $70,000. But now let's go ahead and break down the strategy in closer detail by giving you two trade examples, one a win and one a loss, and show you how both trades had high risk reward and provided a great opportunity. One of them was correct, making close to $30,000, and one of them was incorrect, where I followed my stop loss, got stopped out, was wrong, but I accepted that, and that loss was heavily offset by my next trade. So here is an example of a losing trade that I took this week on the SPX, and I was looking for a break and retest long entry off the previous high of day. So we can see here on the SPX, we have a previous major high from around 9:30 to around 9:50 a.m. We have a triple top high that we went ahead and we broke above. Now you guys know the break and retest strategy. We're not trading that breakout. We're looking for the pullback, and we're looking to see if buyers can hold that previous high and curl back to the upside. So we can see right here that we have a very clean pullback. We are moving lower back into that high, moving back into those previous rejection points, and this is where I set up my long entry. You guys can see that I went ahead and lost around 25%, losing $4,200, but my risk was much smaller than the potential reward. In this scenario, I am looking to risk under this previous high. You can see that I was risking about 2 points underneath that previous high to get around a 10-point return, right around a 4 to 5 to 1 risk reward. So if I was right here, I was aiming to make upwards of $20,000, but in this situation, I was wrong. I lost $4,200. Now, of course, in this situation, you can see that the SPX did end up going sort of back higher, and maybe I would have been right, but this is the mindset that also causes you problems. There are plenty of times where this SPX or any stock in general goes under your stop loss and just continues lower and lower. And if you would have held on, that's the trade that blows up your week. If I didn't stop out there, I don't know what's going to happen. So I need to stick to the system. The system was to risk a close and a break back under these previous highs. And we did that. Right here, you can see a candle that was underneath those highs. And I have to stop out. I have to accept that I am wrong, because my original thesis was for it to hold and push back higher. You can see right here that there was a very clear indication that the potential of that stock moving back higher was showing up, right? We had those previous highs, we had a clear hold right here, and it looked like the SPX wanted to start to push back to the upside. It wasn't. It did not do that. It failed, it faked me out, and I got stopped out. I accepted that loss and took around a $4,000 loss. Now, if this trade works tomorrow, right, this is the mindset. If this same exact setup works tomorrow, then guess what? I'm making $20,000 targeting the previous high a day. 4 to 1, 5 to 1 risk reward. I have to accept it, because the next time this happens, if it works, I'm making back that loss all day. And right here is a fantastic example of that on CRWV. Now, I will say there is a little bit of a problem here with TradeZella. It looks like it's not populating this chart. So we're going to go ahead and go over to TOS to calculate everything on this trade. But you can see that I made around $30,000 on this position, a 47% return. And the risk reward was, again, around a 5 to 1 risk reward. So let's go over to TOS and break this down. Once again, we're using the break and retest strategy. It's the same strategy that I'm using for every entry that I take. We can see here on CRWV, we can see Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, we saw very clear failures around the $175 to $176 area. And here on Friday, we had a very strong push above that level. Now, we did trade a little bit of this breakout, but the majority of these gains comes from the break and retest. We can see right here, we had a very clear pullback to these previous highs. So major rejection, we break above that. And throughout the rest of the day, if I go down to the 5-minute chart, we can see that CRWV sort of stalled out at these highs and started to pull back into our exact retest level. So as we were getting that pullback on CRWV, I was looking to see those buyers starting to step up. And right here on this 11:10 candle, I saw a very strong demand hold of this demand zone. And I saw this candle close back above that area. You can see if I go to my entries, I was entering around 11:18 to 11:25, starting to get into this position. Now my risk around $177 was just around $2 of risk. So I was risking about $2 on the underlying, and I was looking for a reward up to the highs of around $187, $186, and that's give or take around $8 to $9 of reward. Let's go ahead and just say it's $8 of reward. So I am risking $2 to make $8. That again is a 4-to-1, right, on this position. So if I was wrong, once again, I'm going to lose that $2. But if I'm right, because the break and retest is working and I know this strategy is something that works, I'm going to go ahead and get $8. You can see in this situation, that is exactly what happened. I started to enter around that 11:20 time frame, and we got a strong push up to those highs. And you can see that this trade worked out beautifully. And that right there is how I offset my losses using the break and retest strategy, always ensuring that every trade I enter has a target of a positive risk reward, always understanding that if I'm wrong this time, the next trade should offset it. And just that small mindset coming into the day, remembering that, will ensure you take quality trades, stick to your stops, remove the blow-up days, and improve yourself as a trader. So in today's video, we went over everything from mindset to strategy, showcasing my real results, showcasing how this is possible with a simple mindset shift. If you enjoyed the content in today's video, make sure to remember to press that like button down below, subscribe to the channel for more content, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.